Good evening and welcome to SanAntonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is, I gotta do the intro. Hold on. Up to a rough start.
You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, whoa.
Cut off. What happened?
You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Take three. Good evening. Better to work out the bugs now than on Saturday at midnight or Sunday morning at midnight. I'm not sure what to call that. So I said Saturday night / Sunday morning because technically it's Sunday morning, but Saturday night for most people. For the Bracketology show upcoming. My name is Harry. Rafa, how are you? The high school season is coming to a quick end. Regular season's done as of yesterday, I think, for everybody. I haven't heard of any play-in matches along those lines here. So brackets are filling out as far as through the UIL, and the show prep for the bracketology is going on. But how are you? And you doing your studying for Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm looking at some of the matchups already, and hopefully I can get another 80% like last year's. Kind of like with the taps. So, but it's interesting. Like I said, that there are going to be some interesting matchups. But like I said, we're not going to get too much in the details. So if you want the details, watch the show. So hit that like button, follow with us, and also 50/50. Tell a friend. Like I said, be able to watch it. But we are going to start at midnight with 4A, and then that Sunday afternoon with the other two classifications with 5A and 6A.
And the reason why we're doing it at midnight, just to, for full disclosure, is we have SanAntonio FC. All of us, I think, are going to the game or have season tickets to there. So we're going to be going to there when they play Colorado Springs, the Switchbacks. And then Coach Steve has games Sunday morning. Oh, and US is going to score here if you're watching through here. So I got the FOTMOB alert. So U.S. men's national team just got bailed out. So for Robert, who was on TV, he'll be happy. Mijo, he'll be happy. And the curse could possibly be lifted, I guess, right?
I don't know. Don't. They still got another overtime, so an extra time. So you know how that goes.
It is Berhalter. And
tell that to Austin FC too.
Well, it's the Austin fans are just want Wolf out, period. But and they expressed their frustration when Austin FC front office went to the U.S. Open Cup match because Austin FC scared of SanAntonio are playing in there. So. Quick recap of the standings here. We'll start with the ladies at 6A. New Braunfels, still Judson Clemens, your playoff qualifiers. New Braunfels, perfect-ish. Only one draw through the through district here. Just kind of high level. What's your thoughts on District 27 6A for the ladies, and Any possible sleepers for the bracketology?
There was kind of three favorites going into the season. I think the surprise is seeing Clemens, finish fourth. I actually got to see them play earlier in the season. They, like I said, very good squad, and I thought it's like this team may do surprise some teams in the playoffs. And I don't know if it's maybe injuries have caught up. That's why they've struggled, or just sometimes you hit a bad stretch. But they got it. Like I said, they're gonna have a tough matchup going against the number one seed for 26 6A. So which we'll get more into details on that. But you got to be surprised with Judson. Kudos to them to finish third. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Maybe they'd competed for maybe the fourth spot, but kudos to them. And then Steele, good bounce back from the last season. Like I said, finished runner up. And what you can say about New Braunfels, they played a really tough non-district schedule, and it paid off. Like I said, they would go undefeated in district play. They're going to be a very dangerous team in the first round. So whoever matches up in the first round, they're going to have a tough time against them.
Moving on to 28, Johnson did run the gauntlet 16-0. Reagan 13-2-1. Lee Volunteers 10-4-2. Madison got in kind of comfortably with the 9-5-2 as far as for the top four on there. Clark and Brandeis just couldn't never close the gap against the top four.
Yeah, Johnson's been, like I said, probably as far as maybe 6A top team. I'll be another team making have a say on that, but like I say, to go 16-0 in this district, that says a lot right there, because you got some, like I said, you got Reagan there, Lee, Madison, Clark and Brandeis are no slouches either. So this is a very competitive district. Now, can Johnson, after going through this, coming the second season, can they do the same thing? Can they make that run? Can they get by those Austin area teams and get to to the regional tournament and then go on to Georgetown? So I think they have a good opportunity. Reagan, like I said, great season for them too. Lee, like I said, saw them also earlier in the year. Had some struggles a little bit, but like I said, great season. Able to get that third spot. Then Madison kind of comfortably they're getting that fourth spot on the last playoffs.
And then District 29, Taft, 13-0-3. O'Connor only one loss, but 5 draws. Warren, 9-5-2. Brennan, 7-4-4. Sotomayor, to me, I thought an impressive 6-4-6. John Jay, 5-5-5. And then Harlan, Stevens, and Holmes. But I thought the top 6 in this were pretty even teams. I know Taft and O'Connor probably a slight step above, but you look at this division, the top 6 outside of Brennan, have 12 plus wins, and Brennan, like I said, didn't play much of an off schedule based on max preps. So
yeah, this the funny thing is, like, Taft kind of started slow with those ties.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it looked, after having like a really good hot start in the pre-district season, and it didn't look well, but they finally kind of got things together, and they've just been on a roll. And what I can also say about O'Connor, they struggled a little bit early on, but they're able to turn around. Like I said, only one loss. That one loss was to John Jay, and then it was 2 ties against
that woke them up.
Yeah, I think that kind of
year.
Yeah, that was kind of a wake up call there, and they were on the roll too. Kudos also to Warren. I think they may be a little a dangerous team, in the playoffs. And then Brennan, last year they had a great season. Last year they made it to the regional tournament. This year I'm sure they're a young team, but to able to get back to the playoffs. I know they got a tough test coming up in the first round. And then Sotomayor, I really thought Sotomayor would probably challenge for that 4th spot. I think they just had some little, tough breaks. maybe I think next year that's one of the teams maybe to look out. And then also the one that started well was John Jay. You know, we thought John Jay, hey, this could be the year for them, but kind of same thing. Just unlucky breaks, but they'll be, like I mentioned, they'll be moving down to 5A, so they could be a surprise team down there. And then rounding out, you got Harlan, Stevens, and Holmes. Keep an eye on Harlan next year. I heard, you know, their JV team actually won the JV district title, so they'll have some talent, and they could be one of that challenge for the district title starting next year.
Yeah, like I said, I follow this one a lot closer just because my kids go to John Jay and Stevens. This district may not have the powerhouses of 28, but like I said, I just think from top to bottom, you know, from 7 through 1, they're just all so close, and the games are so competitive. And I'm sure probably over, you know, on the northeast side and 28, probably very similar with that here. But you know, like I said, I went out to a few of these games, and like I said, very impressed with all the teams through here. Moving to 27, Clemens on the boys, 9-0-1. Steele second, runner-up on the boys' side as well, 6-1-3. New Braunfels 6-4-2. And the surprise, San Marcos getting into that 4th slot. I know early in the year you were on Judson bandwagon, but it unfortunately never got out of neutral there.
You know, I thought this year Judson would probably get that 4th spot, and like I said, maybe injuries, grade, something it just didn't pan out for them. So kudos to San Marcos, but like I said, they got a tough test next Tuesday, but they actually get to host, so we'll talk more about that. But yeah, the really kudos is to Clemens. You know, Clemens, they challenged themselves, you know, early on in the season. They played some really tough, you know, state caliber teams, and there were district record. You know, like I said before, the start of district play, their record didn't reflect on it. They kind of look off.
They were 3-8.
Yeah, they were 3-8, but to go undefeated here, I think that was a good, you know, it was a good payoff for them, because it's got them prepared, and they know that they have to play those type of teams, you know, coming up, not only in the first, you know, here on out. So they're going to be dangerous. You can't sleep on them. Steele too. I think Steele has had a great season as well. I know last year they were young, but I think they got some good experience this year. Same thing with New Braunfels. You know, struggle a little bit, but like I said, able to get that 3rd spot. So, you know, but these are some good teams that, you know, 26 6A cannot, you know, take lightly, because like I said, they can be beaten at any time.
Moving to 28 boys, Johnson 12-0-4. Brandeis coming on strong at the end, 11-2-3. Lee and Madison 9-6-1. Reagan, I guess we have to talk about the collapse, because prior 2 weeks ago they were in 3rd at 7-3-6. They finished, and then Churchill a respectable 7-6-3 for that here. But to me, I guess the story is Reagan falling out, you know, the last couple of weeks of the playoff slot, right?
Yeah, and you know, we kind of saw the scenarios and stuff, and you know, everything was against Lee's. They had basically had to run the gauntlet, and
they did.
And they did. And you know, those 6 ties that Reagan has, those came back to haunt them. You know, and you know, if they get a win or two, you know, we're talking about them. I think it ended their 20-something year, or I think somewhere 17, 20-something year district streak, playoff streak. So that was a very surprising, you know, and it's funny that, you know, they lost and Madison lost, and, you know, and Madison was still able to get in with a loss. But Lee, you know, being the 5th place team, this surged to 3rd, and you know, Coach Rogers has them peaking at the right time. Like I said, I have to see them play.
They're a young team too.
They're a young team, but they're talented, and I knew experience was going to be a factor. But you know, now at this stage of the season, you know, they're, like I mentioned, they're peaking at the right time. So you know, whoever they're facing, they're up for a challenge, and I think they're gonna face Steele. So Steele's got a challenge in this game. They cannot take them lightly, but that's going to be a great game. Brandeis, great season. Coach Mayer's the final season and great run for them. They're going to be a dangerous team too. And then what do you say about Johnson to go undefeated, district title? High, like I said, high expectations there. Can they, what they've done in this, during their district run, can they, emulate it here in the playoffs? And they, like I said, and see if they can get into the state tournament. And it's going to be interesting coming, in the playoffs for these teams, how they do.
Yeah, tune in Sunday at 6, starting at 6 o'clock or approximately around there, when we do the 6A bracketology for both the boys and the girls for that here. Moving to 29, Harlan. But second full season, I think, maybe even third of undefeated play in district play, 13-0-3. Brennan, 11-2-2. John Jay, 10-3-2. Although they slipped from second to third with the loss to Brennan this past week. Warren, once again, very solid, 10-5-1. Half 7-7-2. I have some friends that that are on the O'Connor team. 6-8-2. Kind of a disappointing year for them, especially for their history of soccer. Stevens with AJ next year. Watch out! I'm just going to call it right now. And then Holmes and Sotomayor. So, I've got to mention Stevens. So.
Yeah. What are you going to say about Harlan? Congrats to them. Winning another district title. Can they make another run? To in the state tournament. Get to the regional tournament. And we'll see what they can do. They've been close a few times. Trying to get breakthrough. They're just kind of maybe a game short, but they have a first round playoff with my old team. So they're in Honda. Should be interesting game. If you need a scouting report, let me know. But and then Brennan was a surprise too. Last year I think they kind of snuck into the playoffs, and this year they did well, and it looked like they were going to challenge. Because they tied Harlan. In the first round, but then they had a couple of slip ups. I think the game versus Taft. And then they couldn't really recover back to get into the title picture. And then Jay was in it. And then they've struggled, these last few games. They're kind of limping in a little bit, but still can't take them lightly. And like I said, they also have a tough matchup. I think they're going against Laredo Alexander, and then Warren. Great season for them too. They also have a tough matchup against Laredo United. So it's like I said, 29 6A has their hands full, so they can't take any of those teams lightly from 36. But it's going to be some great games coming up.
No tipping things here. In 5A, we're going to do the 5A bracketology at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So starting out with the boys. Piper, what can you say? 14-0. Smithson Valley, 8-4-2. Bernie Champion, 7-4-3. Canyon 7-5-2, and Kerrville Tivy 7-6-1, and even Betts Memorial at 6-6-2. Outside of Piper, this district was as close as you could be, 2 through 6.
Yeah, and it looked like Kerrville was gonna get in, and it just missed it by like a half a game there, and. But kudos to Canyon, they found a way, and they got that 4th spot, but they got probably the toughest task in Leander Glenn, but never say never. Anything can happen, and also good bounce back for Bernie Champion. Great season for them. Smithson Valley too, finished runner up. But what can you say about Piper? They've been on a roll. And they're going to probably be one of the dangerous teams here going into Region 4. And I know Glenn's kind of getting looked at in some of the Valley teams like Porter and Lopez and Donna North, but and also like I said, also include Southwest and Alma Heights. They're going to be very dangerous. They got a tough one. It's a rematch of a game they played at Alma Heights tournament. and against Cedar Park. So it's going to be interesting, how that one turns up. I'm sure Cedar Park's going to be ready for that game.
I think the U.S. just scored here. Oh, yeah. Haji Wright. I think it's 14, right? Haji Wright?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Haji Wright. So 3-1 to the United States. So they will defend their Nations League title. For that here, moving to District 27. Surprise, MacArthur, 42 points. Alamo Heights, 41 points. Lanier, Jefferson, 34-32. And then Edison, Burbank, and Brackenridge. But I don't know anybody that had Alamo Heights not winning this district here. So congrats to the MacArthur Brahmas.
Yeah, what a season for MacArthur, and we kind of knew that it was going to be, one of those two teams, going in, even though Alamo Heights had, was the favorite for this district, but MacArthur's turned it up, and they could be like one of those dark horses that can get to to the regional tournament down in Brownsville. So they're going to be a very tough matchup. So they played in the first and in the next rounds. Alamo Heights, like I said, great season too. The only two losses they had as far as district it was against MacArthur, and they're still a good team. They're still a dangerous team. If they can kind of get things, I think they kind of get things together. They can do some damage as well. And then you have Lanier. Lanier was able to get in. Same thing, Jeff. It looked like Jefferson was not going to get in, and they found a way in. And now that
I know.
Yeah, we thought Edison was going to. Yeah,
I just didn't see it with the points gap.
Yeah,
on there, and Jeff's one of those interesting teams depending on which team shows up. I hate saying that, but to me, they're a team that can beat one of the best, but then they can also look like hey, why are you even in the playoffs here? Unfortunately, JJ Kiokin says, what top RGV teams are playing in the playoffs? I know not to go into great detail, but if you were to pick, let's say two 6A, 2 5A, and if you want to go 4A teams, from boys and girls, to watch out for the playoffs before we get into the bracketology.
Sure. For JJ, for 6A, you really got to look at Brownsville Rivera. Like I said, they're regionals finalists last year. They knocked off Lee. They came close getting to the final, falling short against Dripping Springs. Also, another team to keep an eye on is Los Fresnos. They're the only team that beat Rivera in district play. So those probably top for 6A. 5A, you kind of pick your poison there because you got, the surprise team out of the Valley for 5A is Donna North. Keep an eye on those guys. I don't know if they end up getting the number 1 seed, but they're going to be a very, very dangerous team, and they're going to be a matchup problem for some of the teams up here. Same thing with Porter. Porter's got the history with the state title. Same thing with Lopez. You also got Sherryland. Sherryland won the region last year. They knocked off a really good Leander Rouse team that was heavily favored, and also they knocked out Southwest also too. And then you also have La Jolla Juarez Lincoln. So you got about 5 or 6 teams that can really kind of do some downs there from the Valley. And then 4A, I think the 2 teams to keep an eye on is Progreso. They've had an excellent season. And I think one team that is the defending 4A state champs is the Hidalgo Pirates. So those are the top 2 teams there for the Valley. For 4A.
Donna North actually got 3rd.
So they must have dropped the game.
They finished 13-3-2, 19-3-2 overall in that district. But yeah, the Donna North Chiefs or actually finished second. Pardon me, same question. Finished second for that here. Sorry,
did Porter win that district?
Well, no, they have T is 3rd. Who won the district?
Yeah, it's either Porter or Lopez.
No, Lopez. Lopez is 1. It's weird on how they have it because
Yeah.
W32 is the winner. So W32 was Lopez. The standings don't kind of match. Donna North's third. T32 is third, and then Brownsville Porter at second, 32. They were 15-1 and 2 through their hair. So and that's what was certified by
32-5A.
32 32-5A. But yeah, number one seed for that is Lopez. The Veterans Memorial is the final seed, but yeah, Donna North will place Far
San Juan Alamo.
Yeah, Far San Juan Alamo Memorial for that here.
They should win that game.
They'll play that, but then they get the winner of Juarez Lincoln and Victoria East. So that would be an interesting area match, which you can tune in.
Yeah, tune in
Sunday at 4 to see how Rafa and Coach Cano will
and
do
Steve for the boys.
Steve, we'll do that, and then I'll throw in which uniform looks the best. I'll be that guy for it here. Moving on to 28 for the boys. Southwest Dragons 14-0 once again. Harlandale 8-4. Legacy 8-3-3. And Medina Valley 7-4-3. Win Southside solid seasons. Medina Valley kind of slow, off to a great start and then kind of stumbled down. Legacy the opposite, where I think they had a slower start and then came on late, and Harlandale and Southwest did what they did last year. And the question for Southwest and the question for Rafa, and this will be a question that I'm sure you'll address on Sunday at 4:00. How real is Southwest?
I think it's going to come down to that second round game. That's they were able to do it last year. They got to the regional semifinal, but then like I said,
that would be against either Rouse or Bernie Champion.
Which, I'll save my picks there, but as far as that Rouse champion game, but if they can get by those second and third round game, they're serious, like I said, serious contender again. The key is like I said last year, I thought they should have beaten Sherryland, and I think they would have, it would have been an interesting game with them against Rouse. Can they, kind of build, what they've had built so far? Can they, not only get back to the point they were, but also exceed it? And like I said, you got some, like I said, this is probably I think Region 4 has so many contenders and, so many scenarios that you can play. You got maybe about probably six or seven teams that can probably represent this region. So Harlandale, like I said, another great season for them. They started out strong. I think for them, maybe they, they had winning a lot of great games. I think what they need to do maybe next year is maybe, try to challenge themselves. Strength of schedule, get it going, play some tougher teams, kind of what Southwest is doing. I think that'll help them. What you can say about Legacy? Good bounce back. It kind of started slow, but they came back and they played some very competitive games. And then Medina Valley, we thought Medina Valley was gonna, they started out very strong, and I don't know if injuries is caught up to them. Still a dangerous team. They got some great talent. Like I said, next year they'll be moving up to 6A, but I think it's gonna be an interesting game between them and MacArthur.
And for those watching NCAA basketball, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got 3.9 seconds and you don't have the ball going against 14th seed Oakland. So my bracket may be busted, but it always gets busted. It just always does. Moving to 26 for the ladies. Piper 11-2-1, Smithson Valley 10-1-3. Canyon Cougarettes 10-3-1, Champion 10-3-1, and then Tybee Veterans Memorial and fell off. But this one early on was a top 4 team race, and Piper came through, and To me, Smithson Valley finishing second, somewhat of a surprise with only one loss.
Yeah, but they did lost some key players last year, but you got to give Coach Jason great job to still contend for a title even to the last game. They needed to win that last game, but they tied with Piper, and that gave Piper the title there. They made a great run last year, and I think they can still make another run this year. They could end up; those two teams can end up playing in a regional final. We've seen it before from this district. And then also Canyon and Bernie Champion. Bernie Champion started out slow, but they great showing here in district play. Same thing with Canyon. Like I said, they got some tough matchups with those 25 5A teams, from the Austin area. But it's going to be some great games. And like I said, it's like I mentioned, next year is going to be even tougher when they add in a couple other teams when they add Alamo Heights and Bernie. So, and New Braunfels too. So it's going to be interesting next year. But for right now, like I said, I keep an eye on Piper. Can they advance a little bit further than what they did last year? Can they achieve more? They're like I said, they're going to be a dangerous team, and so is like I said with Smithson Valley.
Moving on to 27 for the ladies. Heights 48 points, perfect. MacArthur 14-2, only 2 blip where it was to Alamo Heights. Edison Jefferson sneaks in over Highlands for the final spot, and then Burbank Brackenridge. But really, this one kind of came down to Alamo Heights, MacArthur, and Edison kind of leading the way, and then Jefferson, sneaked into the playoffs. I guess you could kind of say out of that next bunch.
Yeah, like I said, I guess I mentioned the heavy favorite was Alamo Heights, and they ran the table. They're undefeated this season. I know, like I mentioned, 26, 5A gets pretty much, the recognition here, but Heights has got a great team. They got some really talented forwards, a great midfield. They could surprise some teams, and wouldn't shock me if they end up in in a regional semifinal or in a final, or even in Georgetown too as well. So great talent there. And then what are you going to say about MacArthur? Great year for them. Coach Cano, kudos to him. He's done a really great job there with the girls there at MAC, and they're looking for more. I don't think they're satisfied. Finishing runner up. I think they got a really tough one coming up in the first round, and we'll see where they how far they can go. But they got some great guidance with him, and then Edison, also great season for them too. Usually Edison's been the staple for this district as far as the playoffs. And then kind of the surprise is Jeff, struggling this year. Normally they were usually in the top 3 teams in this district, but I think maybe graduation kind of hit them, but they were able to get in. They were actually able to fend off Highlands. Highlands was on their on their heels, but they're able to fend them off, and so now they have a date with Southwest in the first round. So we'll see how that goes.
For the ladies of Southwest, or 28, Southwest Medina Valley 13-1, so co-district champions. McCullum 9-4-1, and then Legacy gets in over Southside by a squeaker, and they don't have 56 draws; they have 5 draws. I just noticed that. Come on, I sent this. Oh no, I didn't send this one to you. No. Here, 56 draws.
I think it was probably 5 draws.
5 draws.
But what? I was gonna say, the surprise, in the early in the season, pretty much, Southwest probably was going to pretty much run the table. Maybe they were going to be challenged, but never it was expected that Medina Valley would split the title with them, and they actually got a win against them. But Southwest still got the top seed. So Medina Valley is going to give some problems, in the playoffs, and we'll see how they go. Southwest too. Now, can Southwest, kind of emulate what the boys are doing? They've dominated this district. Can they now? Like I said, they usually get a first round win. can they go beyond the second round and third and get to the regional, reach the regional tournament. McCollum, they've done a great season for them too. Aleto Oresti's been their top scorer. I think the last game she scored 5 goals against, I think, Harlandale. So this is one pearl you're going to have to keep really mark on. And then Legacy, just able to sneak in and kind of fend off, South Side here. And I've seen Legacy play. They're a little good team, scrappy bunch. They can give you some problems there if you take them lightly. So, but like I said, they're ready to go.
Heights. That's the problem.
Yeah. But you can't go. Yeah, but you can't go get intimidated, right. And anything can happen. And if you can catch a team, on their off night, it could be here. Because as I say, if you lose, you're gone. That's it. Your season's over. So, but kudos to the teams that made the playoffs, and let's see what happens here in the first round.
And I will say before we move to 4A, the brackets, at least on ours, on the district or region 3, region 4, 5A seems loaded. So, like I said here, that's not going to be a show you're going to want to miss to hear the debates about which team goes, because there are a lot of nice matchups, even in the bi-district round, where brackets could be busted and they're quality teams for that.
That's why you have 3 coaches with all that soccer knowledge, that they're gonna kind of put their expertise on it. So it's gonna be fun. Like I said, I'm looking forward to see my little debates with Steve and Coach Cano on this.
Now, moving to our Midnight Magic show here for 4A, which is going to be Saturday night, Sunday morning at midnight here for 4A. But just looking at the standings here, this one was a fun one to follow. District 26, Davenport, Bernie 7-1-2, Wimberley 6-2-2, and Canyon Lake 5-5. But if you look at their season, 16-6 overall, just and even Fredericksburg at 5-8, a solid team for that here. But the top 3 are just such heavyweights, in this district that. For 4A, will be interesting to see how far you guys send them down the path.
Yeah, this district came down to the wire to the last game between Davenport, Bernie, and Wimberley. They're all in contention for the district title, with Wimberley facing Bernie and then Canyon Lake facing Davenport. Davenport was able to get a big win, kind of a revenge win too, because Canyon Lake beat them on the first go around, which was kind of a surprise. And then Bernie goes to Wimberley, gets a big win over there. So they end up splitting the district title, but because of the tiebreaker, Davenport gets the number 1 seed. So like I said, they're going to go probably, this is the district, as far as the girls soccer for 4A, region 4, these are your probably 4 of your 6 favorites. Davenport, like I said, should have no problem. Same thing with Bernie. Wimberley, I don't know, they got a tough matchup. Canyon Lake, they're gonna have a tough matchup against Burnett, and Burnett just had a warm up game against Salado, and they just lost to them 2-1. So, but could this one be your bracket buster? We'll get in a debate for that on midnight. At midnight. So let's tune in and but. Like I said, these won't be surprised if these 4 teams end up facing each other again in the regional quarterfinals. So it'll be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
Moving to Region 4, District 27, Lavernia 12-0, Gonzales 8-3-1, Kennedy 7-4-1, and Yoakum got the last spot 5-4-3. Lavernia was your favorite. Surprised about Gonzales and Yoakum making the playoffs, or?
Yeah, that I thought maybe Kennedy would get that runner up, but like I said, they fell a game short. Got kudos to Gonzales, to Lady Apaches. Congratulations on making the playoffs, and also congratulations to Yoakum, very young program to make the playoffs. I saw their game against Kennedy a few weeks ago. That did the live stream for that, and that was a fun game there, and Kennedy able to get a win there. But like I said, Yoakum going in we'll see how they do in the playoffs. You know, like I said, they got a tough matchup coming up. The big thing is can Lavernia, get to, I know 26 gets, is getting the attention here, but Lavernia, like I said, can they, make a run themselves, and we'll see if they face one of these teams, like I said, in the second, like I said, Bernie or Davenport or Wimberley or maybe Cannon Lake in the second round. So we'll see how that goes.
Moving to 28, Pleasanton 10-0-2, Uvalde 10-1-1, Floresville 8-3-1, and then Somerset sneaked in over Hondo. I was rooting for you, Hondo, but unfortunately you finished one game out, or half a game out, really, because they got a draw, you got a loss was the difference. But Pleasanton and Uvalde kind of ran this one here. Mm-hmm. Floresville, I know you kind of talked them up beginning of the year here, and I'm wondering if they're kind of a sleeper season, sleeper team coming into the playoffs for that here. But your thoughts on 28?
Yeah, 28. Like I said, I thought there was 3 teams in contention, but it ended up coming down to 2. It actually came down, I think, to the last game. Pleasanton able to win the district title by a point over Uvalde. But also kudos to Somerset, Coach Carranza, like I said, formerly of Lavernia. It's like I was sorry I wasn't able to make it on the game, on Tuesday night, but they had a big win over Pearsall that got them into the playoffs, and we'll see how, like I said, with his experience, to see if they can lead the Lady Bulldogs, maybe hopefully into the second round. But like I said, Pleasanton Uvalde, like I said, there could be some matchup problems, in the playoffs, and we'll see if they can go deep as well.
26 boys, Bernie, Greyhounds running away with it, and then Fredericksburg got the 3rd slot, Davenport got the 4th slot, Wimberley got the Wimberley got the 2nd slot, Davenport got the 3rd, and Wimberley got the 4th, all identical with 6-4 records. This one we knew who the 4 teams were. We just didn't know the order, 2, 3, 4. And to be honest with you, until they posted it, I wasn't sure, how the chips had fell.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty much the Bernie Invitational on this one. And like I said, Coach Strong, he's got them ready, and I think this team's on a mission. I know they're on looking at the brackets earlier on. They're on a collision course with Hidalgo, and they're looking forward to that game, in the regional semifinal, and they're going to want some revenge from last year. But still, they still can't look ahead yet. They still have to take care of some business. So we'll see. Like I said, but Bernie's, your favorite again for Region 4, and to get back to Georgetown, and maybe even also get that title again. Win 3 out of the last 4 years, which is going to be it's remarkable right there. Great season for Fredericksburg. They weren't really they were a sleeper team. I think we had them maybe somewhere like contending for that 4th spot. It would have finished runner up. I already thought Davenport would finish 2nd. Some struggles early on, but able to get in, and then Wimberley gets the last spot. The surprise was Canyon Lake. I thought maybe they contend for that 4th spot. Just not a good season for them. Hopefully they'll bounce back next year, and and maybe contend to get back into the playoffs. So, but like I said, kudos, like I said, for all the 4 teams going to playoffs, and we'll see what happens here.
27 Lavernia got the double in 27. Memorial, Fox Tech, and Kennedy was a mix and mash, and Gonzalez unfortunately just missed by a game on this one here. So this one, finding out who was going to get in with Lavernia, came down to the last week for that.
Yeah, this, like I said, is pretty much last year. If you remember, it was a battle between Memorial. I think Kennedy was in the mix, and Lavernia. We all thought Lavernia was going to get it through, but Memorial was able to win it. But Lavernia's got it together. The question for them is, the last few years, they've fallen short early on.
In the early rounds, right? First rounds,
the early,
right?
in the first rounds, and can they overcome that? Those disappointments that they've had, and I think they have the team, they have the experience. We'll see. And I think kind of looking a little bit of the brackets, it kind of favors them a little bit. So, so it's kind of now an era for them. For them, they're going to make a deep run. Memorial, another great season for them. After what they did last year. Kudos to Fox Tech. They had I think I hear some hail coming down.
Where you're at?
I think so. Hold on. Give me 1 second real quick.
I think it was supposed to be storming. Fox Tech 5-4-1. Kennedy 4-4-2.
Yeah. So if you're in Northwest San Antonio, it is hailing. So be on alert. You're near the Leon Valley area. Lotus, take alert. I guess I'm gonna have to call my insurance tomorrow. But yeah, going back to this, Fox Tech, great one. Like I said, I did their game against against Gonzalez, and they, got that goal, towards the end of the game, and they were able to, win, pretty much seal the deal for them to get that third spot. And then Kennedy, able to hold off Gonzalez. Like I said, it was, Gonzalez is a real talented team too. So. But Kennedy was able to get in. So these are the four. Like I said, these four were going to represent 27-4A.
Yeah, this storm hits Helotes and above, so it doesn't. So I was like, I'm not hearing any rain, but yeah.
I hear hail right now. So if you're in the Leon Valley, Helotes area, take cover your car.
Then it's going across 1604 towards Austin that way. So be prepared for that here. We are weather, sports, we're just everything. 28 Bush. Floresville 11-1, Uvalde 9-3, Pleasanton and Somerset 8-4 each. So like I said, your quality seasons by all four of the playoff teams, and then Hondo, Poteet, and Pearsall still got some some growth to do. All three of those are very young programs here, but Floresville put it together, has had a complete season from start to finish for that here. Come midnight on Saturday night, it'll be interesting to see how far that you have Floresville going, because I know you've talked about them pretty high this year.
Yeah, they since they've moved out from 5A to 4A, I think they've been very competitive. But actually this district was wasn't finalized yet, because there were still. I think the four teams were a game apart, or 2 games apart, and everything kind of cleared out. And Floresville was able to kind of, like I said, fend off Uvalde and Pleasanton, and then Somerset able to get that. Somerset, they started very slow in that non-district schedule, but they turned it up here in the district play. So kudos to them, and just kind of fell a little short of getting maybe a higher seed, but. Like I said, I think seriously, some teams that can't take lightly. They're gonna compete, and whoever them facing this upcoming the teams from 27, they're gonna be interesting matchups.
Yeah. So Floresville assuming that it's Floresville versus JFK, will be a very interesting one early next week here for that here, and tune in midnight to be able to see who gets selected on that. Now it's time for the pound for pound Power 15, Rafa. We'll start out with the ladies here. Dropped out Canyon Lake and Madison, 14 and 15. Any thoughts on either one of these that dropped out? District here.
They just kind of, like I said, they started out strong, and then towards the end they kind of faltered a little bit. But still, there's still 2 playoff teams. If there was maybe a top 25, they'd be in the top 25. So, but good luck to them in the playoffs, and who knows? We maybe see them back in it at the end of the season when we make the final RPIs.
So just missed Medina Valley and Steele, both still in the just missed category. Added Warren, Lavernia, and Pleasanton for that here. So Just a quick snapshot of these 5 teams, kind of what kept them out.
Yeah, like with Pleasanton, like I said, they won the district title. I think they're at 16-7-0. It's a great season for them. So contingent like an honorable mention for them. Same thing with Livernia. They were to win the district title. I know they struggled on early on, but they were to get things together. Steele, like I said, runner-up going into the playoffs. Like I said, all these teams are playoff teams. So, like I said, this it's tough. Like I said, a lot of the teams that we have on here are playoff teams or runner-ups. We also have, like I said, Medina Valley, district champ with Southwest. It's a great season for them. Same thing with Warren.
So moving to number 15, New Braunfels, champion of 20 District 27, 13-5-2, 9-1. Your thoughts on the Lady Unicorns at 15?
What are you going to say about them? They had a great season here for their district, able to go undefeated. First round matchup with Madison. We'll see what they can do. I think that'll be a great game between them.
14 down from 11. Canyon Cougarettes, 10-3-1 in district. Finish up 15-4-2. Your thoughts on Canyon?
Canyon, another great season like last year. Last year they were in the mix. Same thing this season too. Just fell a little short, but still a very dangerous team into the playoffs. I know they got a tough matchup coming up. So keep an eye on them. Like I said, we'll see what they do coming up.
Staying the same at 13, Coach Cano in MacArthur Brahmas. I don't understand why you stayed the same, but we'll go to Rafa to kind of have that discussion of why he doesn't like Coach Cano.
What are you gonna say about the Lady Brahmas? They great season for them. After from like last year what they did, and I think they really they bought into the system, and kudos looks like Coach Connell. He did a great job. He's got a great staff, and I think what you can tell, the players really play for them. They're very motivated, and they enjoy it. You can see the smile on their faces, and don't take them lightly. Into the playoffs. They could surprise some teams. So we'll see.
O'Connor at 12, same as last time we did it. 10-1-5. I believe runner up, and it should be 6-8-29. Not 5-8-26. But your thoughts on O'Connor?
O'Connor, like I mentioned, they got 2 draws against Taft, who was the district champs. The only loss was that loss that pretty much woke them up, and they got their sights set on making another deep run like they did last year. I think they're on a collision course with a team they lost earlier in the season, kind of the same scenario like last year. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to tune in on Sunday for that. We'll talk about which team they're on the collision course with in round 2.
Smithson Valley at 10, down 1 from the previous one at 10-1-3, 15-3-3 on the Lady Rangers.
Just like I said, great season for them. I know they lost some key players from last year, but to be in contention still for the district title shows the quality of program that they have. Just to be just a game short. But the thing is, they got that experience from they learned last year, and they're going to be able. Hopefully, they can be able to utilize that and make a run. Like I said, they got a tough matchup first round, and we'll see what they can do here on out.
Number 10 from Taft, JP2 for 9th, and then finished the year 10th at this point here. Obviously, I think they made it to the regional finals,
or state semifinals.
State semifinal. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't make it to state because they lost to.
They played in Round Rock, so it's the state tournament there.
No, Geneva did.
Yeah, that was the final, but they made it to the state tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're state semifinalists. Like I said, they made it last year. They fell a game short of the title. Here, just a couple games short. They were able to win the district championship. On that second game, and so it really, I guess I mentioned, they was going to come down to those 2 teams. But what a great season, and we'll see what they do next year.
Southwest Dragons, the Lady Dragons, down 2. Kind of surprising, 13-1. before that, here are your thoughts on the Lady Dragons.
Another district title for them, but this is shared with Medina Valley. Like I mentioned earlier on with them, we'll see what they do. You know, I think they should have no problem with the first round game. Can they exceed expectations and get beyond that second round? Like I said, that's what I want to see. You know, can you start building? You know, kind of do what the boys are doing, make a run.
Reagan, from 5-8 to 13-2-1, 19-2-1 here for the Rattlers.
Yeah, the two losses against Johnson. No, you know, like I said, no shame on that. You know, like I said, Johnson's been one of the top teams not only in the region but also in the state. Reagan, like I said, we'll see how they do in the playoffs, and still a great program, and you know, can't take them lightly, and we'll see what they can do in these next few weeks.
So this one deserves a little bit more. Geneva School of Bernie, state runner-up for Division III, TAPS Division III state championship finalist. 18-2-1, 7-0 in district. They did lose in PKs in the district tournament to JP2, but did beat them in the playoffs. They beat them convincingly. So congrats and thank you to Tap Soccer for the photo here. But your thoughts on the outstanding season for Geneva School of Bernie?
Yeah, they really, like I said, I think is a season to remember for them, and see if they can use this as a foundation to really build that program, and hopefully next year get to that, you know, get back to this title and win it, you know. And I know they still are in that same district with JP2, so they're gonna have some epic battles. So hopefully I get a chance to see them out next season, and but keep an eye on them. See what they do up in 2024, 2025.
Bernie Greyhounds up 2 was 8-6, 7-1-2, 17-1-2. I'm not sure what else we can say about Bernie.
Yeah, I mean, the state semifinalists last year gave Salina a little a little wake up call, you know, and can they do it again? You know, and I know they split the title with Davenport, and you know, even though Davenport got the first seed, you know, we could see them on the collision course again and the regional final this year.
Speaking of Davenport, up 1, 6-5, 7-1-2. Your thoughts on the Lady Wolves?
I think there was some high expectations for them for what they did last year, and also the players that were coming back. Like I said, the only question mark is they had a coaching change. You know, was that gonna, you know, not say stop their progress? Was that gonna be a factor in coming in? But it wasn't. They were able to win the district title, get the number 1 seed. Now, can they win the region? And like I said, the pressure's on. You know, they have the target on their back, kind of what Bernie had last year. Can they finish the story and go on to represent Region 4 in Georgetown?
Piper, the Piper Warriors, 14-0, 20-3. They went from just missed.
Is that the boys? Is that the boys' record or the girls' record? It might be the boys' record. I think that's the boys' record. Yeah.
Oh, did I get it wrong? Hold on, let me check here.
Yeah, I think that's the boys' record.
That's the boys. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you had them just missed to 4th, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you put them in 4th. Let me pull up the.
Yeah, I had them at. I can tell really quick. Let me see here.
Oh, you had them at 5th. So Piper and Davenport, they're 15-4-2. So switch between Davenport and Piper. You had them 5th. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
They even ran it to you to double check it.
So might have slipped my mind on that one. But like I said, for either or, like I said, they're both district champs, and like I said, And I mean, you can really say that was a tie for fourth for, kind of say, that's how, close that they were in the season. And we'll see how the girls do. Can they go make the run? I think this is their opportunity to do so.
And then 17-0-4, kind of been stuck in third all year. 13-0-3. Well, I think you had them one at the very start, and then they had kind of a couple of draws. But they've been kind of that steady third team on your list behind the top two, which, if you're paying attention, you know who the top two are.
Yeah, and then, they had those two draws in the beginning of the district play, and we were a little surprised about that. But they were, like I said, they were able to kind of get pieces together, run the gauntlet. Now the back-to-back district titles for them. Like I said, they had a great run last year. Can they do it again? I know they were disappointed, falling to one of the Round Rock teams, and they're looking to see if they can get into that regional final.
Number 2, Johnson, 21-1, 16-0. And then first is Alamo Heights, 22-0-1, 16-0. This might be an unfair question to you, but how close is Johnson to Alamo Heights?
It's just razor thin right there. I think it is because they have, like I said, I know they have a loss, but like I said, you can't punish Alamo Heights.
Correct.
It's a draw. They're still undefeated, but like I said, both of them went undefeated in district play. But I think these are your two favorites, for Region 4 for 6A and 5A. That they can they make the runs? That's the thing. Can you okay, you've done your part in the regular season in district play. Now here comes the second season. Can you do your thing here? And like I said, you're going to have a target on your back, and the expectations are high, and we'll see how they do coming up. And we'll tune in on Sunday, so we'll make those picks.
And for UTSA fans, the women's basketball team did get its first win in a national postseason tournament with an 80-62 win over Northern Colorado in the first round of the WNIT. Per Stephen Whitaker, they'll play at Wyoming in the second round on Sunday afternoon at 2:00 Central Time. So congratulations to the UTSA women's basketball team for their first postseason or national postseason win for that here. So, and like I said here, we just need to get the men's side up and running as well. So talking about the pound for pound for the boys, we actually had a few of them drop out. Bernie Champion, Canyon, and Reagan all dropped out, 9, 11, and 13th for that here. Moving to the just missed, John Jay still on the just missed. Bernie Champion just missed for that here, so they dropped from there to the just missed. San Antonio Christian for Taps, Floresville, and Harlandale. So any thoughts on the just missed clubs here?
Like I said, all playoff teams, we'll see what they do. Except, Floresville, they have a district title. Like I said, great season. We'll see how far they can do. But the other ones, I know San Antonio Christian's a little disappointed on, like an early exit. John Jay, they were, they started out well, and the last few games they've kind of, like I said, we were at the game against Taft, and then yesterday a couple losses there, and they, hopefully they can bounce back and get some momentum, because like I said, they got a tough matchup coming up. So, and like I said, well, we'll see what Harlandale can do in the playoffs, and same thing with Bernie Champion.
15 Steel, 6-2-3, 12-2-4. Your thoughts?
Another, like I mentioned, great season for Steel. Finished runner-up. Like I said, they got a tough matchup coming up, and they got Lee. In Lee's been, like I mentioned, they had to run the gauntlet, so they can't take them lightly. But that's going to be a great game. So if you have a chance, make sure you check out that game.
Clemens, 9-0-1, 12-8-1. I know they got off to the slow start. Being a champion at 14, Fair
Yeah,
or unfair?
I mean, but still, it's not how you start; it's how you finish. And like I said, they finished strong. And like I said, I know those 8 losses kind of little. I'm not saying penalizes you, but still, they were able to, like I said, work their way back up. And like I said, they're able to get into the top 15. And like I said, like I said, they're going to be a team to be look out for. Could be a dark horse here, in the playoffs.
Yeah, looking through here, the Kim's has the radar on. There's huge storms that are still coming in, going through the Leon Valley, Helotes area here. So be careful. They got purple. I'm not sure what purple is, but I'm assuming it's
hail.
higher than red. So you guys are on that line here. TMI at 13, 20-6, 9-3 for the Taps. Taps Region 2, Division 4. Or District 4, pardon me.
Mm-hmm. So another good season for TMI. I know they're moving up in classification next year. See what they can do. We'll see what they can do because they got some top challenges because they got Central Catholic in that district. But just fell a little short on the playoffs. But like I said, we'll see what they'll be. Like I said, they'll be in the hunt next year in that district.
Warren at 12, 10-5-1, 17-5-1. I like Warren a lot. I think they're a good program.
Mm-hmm.
Just a tough team to play.
Yeah, they're a tough matchup, and if I'm Laredo United, you better not take them lightly. Yeah, and like I said, Warren, they got a great midfield, great forward. We'll see how they do next Tuesday. Like I said, we'll stay tuned. We'll see, like I said, next on this weekend on what picks we make with them. We'll see how far Warren goes.
Speaking of North Side, 29, Brennan, 11-2-2, 17-2-2. Just missed to 11th here. I think you're going to find out the top 10 is pretty tough to break. So your thoughts on the Bears?
I think the same thing with the Bears. No one was expecting them, to be, even though they made the playoffs last year, just the way they exited wasn't that great. Here, like I said, they kind of turned things around and they had opportunities to win that district title, just kind of fell short. Like I said, I think that loss against Tap really kind of hurt their chances there. But going in, like I said, they have that second seed. Tough matchup also with Laredo United South, and I actually got to see United South play when I was guest on with KWMC. So shout out to them there in Del Rio. So that's going to be a really good game there. So we'll keep an eye on the Bears.
Brandeis, 12-4-4, 11-2-3, District 28. Another solid program, another solid year for Brandeis. To me, kind of a sleeper team to watch out when it comes to the playoffs. Not that I'm shuffling my things here.
Mm-hmm. I think they made a statement on Tuesday night. That game against Reagan, and Reagan knew that they had to at least tie or win that game. Brandeis pretty much had the 2 seed locked in, but I think Brandeis fully understands. Hey, we need to get some momentum going into the playoffs, and they made a statement. They got a 6-3 to win, basically knocked out Reagan out of the playoffs, and very dangerous. They're going to be very dangerous. I know last year they fell short against Stony Point. I think that they've learned from that loss, and I think they're ready to go. They're battle tested. I know this is Coach Mayer's last year, and I think they want to go out high and win, go as deep as they can before he retires this season.
At 9, Alamo Heights. Last week 5, or last time 5. This time 9. 20-3, 14-2. Runner up, surprisingly, and I'm assuming that's probably why they're at 9 and not higher.
Yeah, the loss against MacArthur, pretty much, like I said, it dropped them down there. Like I said, those are the only 2 losses they had all season was against Mac, and like I said, Mac ended up winning the district title. So, but still a great team. We'll see what Alamo Heights can do in the first round, and then we'll see what they can do beyond.
Speaking of MacArthur, 15-1, 18-5, up from 14-8. This is the team I won't, to tip my hand when it comes to bracketology. this is the one that'll be interesting to kind of see how you guys weigh how far that MacArthur goes on the boys' side. And to be fair, on the girls' side as well here. I know Coach Kano won't be able to discuss the girls' side here, but for the boys, it'll be interesting to see how far that you get them through for that here. And Steve, you'll be on the call here for a great season so far from Max. So we'll wait to see Steve's official selection and Rafa's official selection. But I know for me, it'll be interesting to see how far that you guys get them, as far as for the playoffs.
The playoffs, what can you say about Mac this year? Great season for them. I don't think anybody expected them to win the district title, and they ran through it. I know they had that one setback against Lanier. I think that was kind of a little controversial loss on that. Maybe they could have come out 16-0, but they're able. They didn't discourage them. They bounced back, and they got two big wins over Alamo Heights, and they got the district title. And now, can they make a run here in the playoffs? Like I said, I see them also as a dark horse. If they, there's a little collision course with another team from another district, and that's that they're probably going to be they are going to be in their district next year. I think that'll be a good, nice little third round matchup. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Harlan stayed the same, 15-3-4, 13-0-3. Harlan's kind of like that team that's flown under the radar this year. Nothing flashy, just very consistent. In even in the pound for pound rankings here, never's been high, but so I think they've been the 7, 8, 9 range all year on your pound for pound rankings.
Yeah, they haven't been too flashy, but maybe that's a good thing for them, and flying on the radar. And I think going into these playoffs, I know they have to go through through the valley, and there might be some tough matchups there. Just kind of little previewing there. Like I said, I'm not going to give any picks, but kind of previewing there. They could have a really tough second round matchup if they get by in the first round, and it's don't be surprised. Like I said, if they can kind of piece things. Like I said, just play consistent, and that's the thing. They've been playing consistent. They can keep that consistency. I wouldn't be surprised that you see them playing at Comalander in the regional tournament.
And Steve said Harley can make a good run along with Brandeis if they're on and dictate the game.
Yeah.
I think that applies to pretty much all of these teams. Johnson from 8-6, 15-4-4, 12-0-4. Your thoughts on Johnson?
What do you say about Johnson? Another district title, undefeated district title too. So they're going in kind of pretty much riding high on this season. Now, can they go far and go far? Go deep. I think that second round matchup, could that's not. I think that'll test them, and we'll see. It's looking at their bracket where they're at. It's favorable for them. And this, if they're gonna make a run to get to the regional tournament, this is the year for them. And I think the stars are kind of aligned for them. But and this is just about consistency. They've been consistent. So can they? They have great goalkeeping. Congrats to Andrew. Shout out to him. Signed with committed to Furman. So congrats to him. And we'll see what they can do. And like I said, just like Harlan, Ken Johnson also do and sneak in and get into that regional tournament.
And this is why you want to tune in for all of our shows, Steve. Not necessarily Harry. Some teams don't go after the win; they play for OT or PKs. So you can expect this type of banter, not just in the chat, but live on air.
Like the parking the bus.
Lavernia 23-2, 9-0-1, ranked 5th for that here. So to me, I think they are your highest
for it.
Lower league.
One of
lower league, but actually no, I stand corrected. There's another one. But as far as that's to me for Lavernia, they're not a powerhouse program that you would normally see this high from the lower levels of UIL. So outstanding season, but it's time for them to put up.
Yeah, like I said, the last 3 years they've really established themselves. They have a great program, but the thing is they've fallen short 2 years in a row in the first round. Yeah. Is this the year that they get that monkey off their back and make a run? And can they challenge one of those teams from, maybe they run into like Bernie or Hidalgo, that can they challenge one of those teams or Marble Falls? So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how they do. Good luck to them. And like I said, but another district title here for the Bears.
Number 4. Caps Division I state championship finalist, runner-up Central Catholic, came up short in the title game, but outstanding year by Central Catholic, 17-2, 10-0 in district. Probably a little bit disappointing end for them not being able to pull it out, but when you get to the title game, anything can happen.
Yeah, like I said, the second year in a row in the title game. I already thought, like I said, they were going to, kind of finish the job. And it started out well for them, but like I said, they gave up 2 goals. And I think what Steve was telling me that the other team was kind of started parking the bus a bit. And once you get a lead,
that first goal matters. I hate to say that. If Central Catholic got it, I bet you they win. But when especially in a title game, you get that first goal. I'm assuming the odds are pretty good that you advance.
But it's still a memorable season. Like I said, Coach Rule got his runner-up again. Coach Rule got his 500th win. His win, and we'll see how what they can do next year. Can they build upon this and get over the hump, get back to the title game, and actually win the championship? I think your microphone's off.
Yeah, I hit the wrong thing. Number 3, Southwest Dragons. Another year where they're ranked high. They got past for the playoffs here. They got past with the first round last year. I think even past
the regional semifinal. Yeah, they made 3D.
But in order to retain this, I think the expectations for them to go a little bit further this year in order to retain a top 5 position in the pound for pound final rankings. But Rafa, you can make that decision. But your thoughts on Southwest and the upcoming run that they're going to be going on?
Yeah, so they, like I said, for them, they had a great season last year. They made a great run. Just fell short against Sherryland, and kind of looking for them, can they kind of build upon what they've done this season. Like I said, another special season for them. Like I said, they haven't lost a district game in 76 games. First round, they're going to be heavily favored. Second round game, we could see a challenge, and also the third round, some challenge there, maybe a winnable game. And kind of looking there, there's a couple arch nemesis from the Valley in their kind of their quadrant in the playoffs. I'm sure they've seen it, and they've seen Sherryland in there. And, they will probably want another game with them, but then there's also Lopez. Lopez is there too. So, it'll be a great season if they can get to the regional final, and we'll see what happens there. And maybe who knows, they can get to the state tournament.
Number 2, Piper, 20-3, 14-0. I'm not sure what else you can say about Piper, outside of all the praise that we've been giving them all year, which they've deserved.
Yeah, Piper's, like I said, great season for them, and what else can they say? They're also a favorite too, and it wouldn't be nice to have them versus Southwest in the final, in the regional final. But they do have some challenges up ahead, especially probably a dream at maybe pound for pound game in the third round, which will, like I said, we're going to save a lot of this discussions on Sunday. They're in a collision course with probably one of the best teams in the state. I'm not saying that Piper isn't one of them, but so far that team has really kind of done a number this year. So, but we're hoping, like I said, we can see Southwest versus Piper in the regional final.
And then number one all year, Bernie. So the question is not so much with them, but how close is Piper to Bernie in your rankings?
They're near there, but what can you say about Bernie? They've been the gold standard when it comes to the programs here. They've been to the state. They won back-to-back state titles. They fell a game short last year to getting back to Georgetown, which I honestly thought they were going to get the three-peat. This year, I think they're on a mission, and I know who they have their sights set on, and they may end up clashing in that regional semifinal game, a little game earlier. And I'm sure, I know Coach Strong's going to have them mentally ready to go. Like I said, they don't take anybody lightly. They just go in there and they take care of business, and that's what this Bernie program's done this last 4 years. And for their last little hurrah here in 4A, can they get back to the on top of the hill and reign supreme again here in 4A?
Well, Rafa, we got one more pound for pound, which will be about 4 weeks after the playoffs. We've got the bracketology shows that kick off Saturday at midnight or Sunday at midnight, whichever one that you want to classify it. And then you got two shows on Sunday at the 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then we'll also be doing the SAFC Fancast at around 8-ish for that here. So you and I will be doing triple duty that day. And then I think we're going to try to do shows after the round. So I think it'd be next Wednesday, possibly.
Possibly some recaps, some small recaps, nothing too much.
Through there just to kind of go over the upcoming matchups for the area round for that here. So I know Mexico's about ready to kick off or has kicked off. I think they have kicked off here.
Yeah, they have.
Over to a U.S. Open Cup match that was an extra time, but it's through there. The U.S. won. Kentucky's lost, so your bracket's already busted if you had Kentucky in the bracket. Final thoughts or anything else you want to do before you get out of here and go watch some Mexico win or lose tonight?
They almost scored right now. Machine almost got one in. So just final thought, like I said, for everyone that's watching, tell a friend, make sure you follow us at 50 Podcasts. Like us on, follow us on X. We're on Facebook only, so you can also like us on Facebook, and then we're also on Twitch and YouTube. So make sure you follow us. Tune in, watch, see what picks we make, and also send your comments in. What do you think about our picks between me, Steve, Coach Cotto, and Harry? We're nice little debates here. Which teams are going, coming facing each other. So like I mentioned, some interesting matchups. Like I said, we're going to start off with 4A. At midnight, like our Midnight Madness with 4A boys and girls. And then Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, we're going to have the 5A boys and girls. And at 6, we'll have 6A. So tune in. So if you're not following, make sure to follow us. Like I said, we'll be on here, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun. This is kind of our tradition now. I think we're the annual. We're the only ones that does this live. And we're not afraid to make these picks. We don't have to hide behind anything. And
some look good, some don't.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes we get them right, sometimes we don't. I'm kind of hoping, because I did get 80% from the taps, so I did get some state champs on the taps, so that's a good sign there. So hopefully I can continue that momentum.
80%, I'll be impressed, just because, dude, these games are close.
Yeah.
And there's always, I guess there's the the club versus high school playoffs issue, because there's the North Dallas Cup or the Dallas Cup.
The Dallas Cup coming up, yeah.
That plays a part that does through there. The other thing here, one of the powerhouses from Fort Worth had their
Frisco
Heritage had their appeal for using an ineligible player denied, so they will be out. So we'll see how that kind of comes into play, because the Frisco schools are off. But yeah, please follow the 50/50 podcast. They do a lot of great things, especially if you are in the coaching business of high schools or want to get into the coaching positions. They do highlight possible openings around the area. Coach Cano does a lot of great things. If you're looking to possibly go to college, they'll typically have college coaches on there, and the discussions are great, kind of, not only about their programs, but what they look for along those lines here. And Coach Cano and his team that he has behind him do a great job. I know we focus quite a bit more on the high school side here locally here in San Antonio, but Rafa with his travels has seen matches pretty much from Killeen, Waco area down all the way down to the border, all the way out to Del Rio and through there. I don't know if you saw any West Texas or Houston or along those lines here, but
I can tell you this: the best team I've seen, and this is not a knock on anything, is that Pflugerville Conley team, that boys team. I mean, I was impressed. I mean, and I've seen a lot of teams play over the years, being in coaching and so forth. Technical wise, they have to be one of the favorites. I know they made it to the final last year and just fell short against that Lone Star team. But this is a special team, and if they can get it, they're gonna have some. They're gonna, like I said, we'll talk about more of that. But they're gonna have some possible roadblocks. But like I said, that's probably one of the best teams I've seen as far as talent wise. But there's also, like I said, you never know what can happen. And when we analyze these games, and using my coaching background, and all that, and seeing what looking at the schedules, who they played, the common opponents and stuff like that, that those come into factor and all that. And that's kind of how we make our picks and so forth. So, but I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, also for the players out there, watching, for recruitment, so yeah, make sure to watch 50/50 podcast. Like I said, a lot of expertise there, talking to all the college coaches there, Coach Cano, who he features as well each week. And, but we're looking forward to this. It's, like I said, it's the second season. So everyone's 0-0, and we'll see who's going to be lifting that trophy in a few weeks in Georgetown.
Oh, whose kid that got just goalkeeper? Was it goalkeeper? Not Doc's son, Furman.
Yeah, that was Doc. Yeah, Doc's kid, Andrew.
So congratulations to Andrew accepting. I think he got a scholarship or something, but he signed.
He committed to Furman.
Sorry, I forgot. I just remembered I wanted to mention it for that here. One final question here. So that way we don't have to get into it too much here. What'd you think about the Heritage case for here, where basically it was an ineligible player, paperwork wasn't filled out correctly, got approvals, but then of course when it comes to the playoffs, that information gets looked at a little bit closer. And, they made the determination. For me personally, the story doesn't necessarily match everything because, if they were missing information, generally speaking, people catch that. And like I said here, I know there's many different levels when it comes to approvals, for that here. So to me, I feel bad about the kids. I feel bad about the coaches. But I don't know if the paperwork wasn't approved properly. I don't know how you justify either case, for that here. So I'm not sure there's a right or wrong answer. Because there has to be some sort of punishment if you did use a kid that wasn't approved for that here. But your thoughts, Rafa, especially with your background. I know you've done the high school coaching, so you probably have a little bit better idea of the paperwork that is involved and kind of what goes through with
Yeah. Before I get my thoughts, I also want to give congratulations to Delamu Reeves from John Jay on his commitment to West Texas A&M too. Congratulations, him. Mechanical engineering. Good luck on that.
Yeah,
and
his dad coaches AJ, so I didn't want to say that just because just like through there. But I do know that Doc's.
I'll get to say that for her. But as far as the Heritage case, what surprises me is that it's a Frisco ISD district, district 10, that, for them to allow him to play and then to turn around and say, well, he's ineligible. That should have been flagged right away. If there was, from what I know a little bit of it, as far as like there was missing information, that should have been caught on early on, right before the start of the season, and they could have fixed all that. And then, I feel, like I mentioned, I feel bad for the players, all that hard work to get to that point, and then to turn around and say, oh, I'm sorry, you have to forfeit all these games, especially for those that are seniors. That just kind of went down the drain, and you kind of have to point the finger there at, kind of Frisco ISD for not catching that right away. But, sometimes, these things happen, and not only in soccer, but also it's happened in football and other sports. So, so hopefully they'll learn from this and maybe find a better system, so that way it prevents things like these happen. Things are happening. That way teams don't have to forfeit. I understand there's these situations about the recruitment of players from teams to going to magnet schools or whatever, or to get them to play in this district and so forth. As long as, like I said, we can do the proper paperwork, that way they can play and so forth. As long as they follow the rules, and it's like I said, we won't have these issues.
Well, I think that's going to wrap us up. We did our 90, and we're going to be back less than 48. Well, I guess 48 hours plus 24, 48.
Around there.
51-ish hours. For the bracketology 4A style at midnight. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of works out. I'm kind of excited to do kind of a special show for the 4A schools. We're going to be doing boys and girls together. It'll, so the classifications will be easy to follow. If you're not up at midnight, or if you're out doing other stuff, it will be on YouTube. It will be on Facebook. It will be on Twitch, so that you can watch the replay. And I think X, you can watch the replay on it as well. So you'll be able to do it. We'll also download it to Spotify and through there. So if you want to listen to the podcast version of it, you can. Spotify, we do the video. So, if you want to follow with the video, you can. But like I said, thank you for everybody tuning in. If you can, please hit the like button. If you can subscribe. And like I said here, what's life without goals? We're out of here, and we'll see you in 2 days.